dog, weighed out about 90 pounds, full-size male, big and long-eared shepherd. The next morning, the dog went through the plate glass window down at the lower level on the east side of the front door. And he was cut up pretty bad, but they found him on the porch. And within 3 or 4 days, he was dead. They put in a second dog. So the next morning, I went to get him. They found him down in the farthest corner of the basement, whimpering and catatonic. I walked out of that place that day. I never walked back.
I cannot explain why I was attracted to this house on Capitol Hill 18 months ago. I knew what I had to do, but I didn't know why. This is the story of the Croak Patterson mansion in Denver, Colorado.
Can you hear that? It's like hollow. This is where the quarriers quarried the stone that the house was built out of.
This is where it all began, as a rock and a mountain leading into a haunted mansion. And we had thought that maybe the stone was haunted from prior years. Maybe it was an Indian burial ground, just like all the other haunted places in the world. And it came embedded in the stone. Ghouls and goblins. I'm looking for real estate. I'm looking for a project. I'm looking for an investment. I come across this one that is magnificent and amazing, huge, unique, and really cheap. I called one of my buddies, Travis, and he already knew everything about it.
Stories of death, of dogs jumping, of people committing suicide, and all this negative aspect of the home.
Most people would run away, but Travis and I came running towards. Most people would forget about this house before their next Starbucks meeting.
when you walk by a home like this, you can't help but think and let your mind wander about all the things that could have happened, should have happened, or did happen.
The most logical explanation of the ghost is that Senator Patterson haunts the building. Wherever there is a scandal which the newspapers fail to expose, his spirit turns on typewriters, copiers, and phone in a desperate effort to communicate with the living world.
Yeah, the ghosts that surround the Croak Patterson Campbell mansion may have come from nearby, from what was founded as the Mount Prospect Cemetery by General William H. Larimer Jr. The bodies start to get moved out of Capitol Hill, which is becoming a fashionable residential area there anyway, so they're glad to have this kind of creepy old cemetery moved out. And a lot of the graves were unmarked, and a lot of the bodies were never found. So every time they expand Cheeseman Park, like just this summer, as you know, they find corpses. And every time the Botanic Gardens, which is on the side of the old Catholic cemetery, Mount Calvary, plants a new shrub or tree, they run into a casket hinge or a femur or tibia or something like that. One guy estimates 1,000 to 2,000 bodies may still lie in that what's now Cheeseman Park Botanic Gardens complex.
The thing is, people, they love the ghost stories. And there's some beautiful ones here. And the place is so beautiful as it is. And it has its creepy look about it, that in itself should be fun enough. But people have so much fun with some of these outlandish ghost stories that they don't stop for a second to think, wait a minute, this is impossible. That doesn't even make any sense. And the story of Willie is a perfect example.
The story goes that he could have been a undertaker over at Cheeseman Park. There's also the stories that he was a child murderer and that he would lure his victims into the carriage house and do some sort of rituals, and then...
Because he was a Satanist, of course, as well, devil-worshipping child murderer. But after he had his way with the children, he would hang their bodies from the tree out front. Oddly enough, nobody ever noticed.
And it's interesting because one of the places in the carriage house where they say he hung his victims, there's a iron bar running through the wall on one portion. They say that's what that was put there for. It's a winch, because when that was a carriage house, it was truly a carriage house, and they needed a winch in there, and that's what that's the remnant of.
Once I read the stories on the internet about the Croak Patterson mansion, I realized that somebody needs to make a movie about this. I want to tell everybody the real story of the house. It seems like every past owner I come in contact with has a story to tell. Could there possibly be any truth to these stories?
The woman coming up and down the stairs, you could see her head and her body, but her legs would kind of dissipate. You couldn't really see her moving.
And I was here completely alone. It was 11 o'clock at night. I was brushing my teeth, and the shower curtain came flying off the wall.
All of a sudden I realized this was not fun and games. This was serious stuff.
I was walking up the main staircase, and right in front of me, a ghost slid right in front of me and then disappeared into another dimension. That's what it looked like. So, but then sounds, groans, creaking. The mansion really howls in the wind. When the wind blows, you hear the sounds. People who come in here to visit, some would feel spirits pass through them, especially going into the basement.
Do you believe in ghosts? You know, I didn't until I moved there. There was that maid, or that older woman, who was coming down the stairs constantly. I mean, she would always come down the stairs, and she seemed to be in a rush, and she seemed to be very sickly and ill, and she was wearing an apron. You know how they used to have those little, I don't know, like frills on their sleeves and stuff? And she was wearing one of those white old hats, you know, with the frills on it. And her hair was up, and she always seemed to kind of be in a rush. And she would come up and down the stairs constantly. Like, you see her all the time. But I'm thinking, hey, she's got somewhere to go, so do I. I'm not going to worry about it.
I don't think it's haunted. I think that there's a lot of stories around big houses, and I think that a lot of big houses create, a lot of this folklore. Whether or not these lores of the property will adversely affect the operating potential that it has.
Whether it is because of ghosts or some other force, the house has never done well as offices. The property has been in and out of receivership over the last 20 years.
Are some of these stories that people have that the house really doesn't want anybody to succeed going to come true?
But is it really haunted? I don't know. This place apparently is. So my biggest concern is, are people going to want to stay at a bed and breakfast like this?
The exterior obviously needs a bunch of cosmetic work. I think structurally there's nothing too major going on.
Right.
And plumbing. I think plumbing is going to be a pretty big ticket item for you.
Okay.
So it's the majority of the supply is copper as far as I can see. There's a couple galvanized lines. The majority of the drain lines and almost all of the heating lines are cast iron.
Okay.
Pretty good amount of corrosion on the cast iron, and that's, I think, where the money's going to come in.
Yes.
Really, really minor stuff on the electrical until you get to the carriage house. I can't get the power to turn on.
Oh.
So I don't know if the main breaker's bad or corroded or whatever. It might have been off for so long that it won't turn back on, the corrosion on the points.
All in all, it's better than expected.
It's pretty good. I see a lot of houses that are a lot worse than this.
The cat is right below those electrical boxes.
Okay, I'm on my way. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, kitty. Looks like back legs and a tail. Poor kitty was ripped apart. He looked beautiful though.
Yeah.
So were you kidding about the sound?
No, I can't believe you guys didn't hear it.
How loud was it?
It was loud enough, well, but I couldn't hear you guys upstairs, but it was loud enough I thought one of you, I don't know, broke a door or something. There's a snap, like a snap, and then a loud thump.
In the basement.
In the basement. It sounded like it came from below me. And you guys were all above
He
it.
hasn't gone down to look to see what's going on. I don't know
I'll
why.
go, guys.
Dude, I got goosebumps just thinking about it. And with the dead cat and everything.
Do I believe in ghosts? It depends on the day. If some days I feel like there might be, in fact, ghosts in the house, and other days I think it's silly. I figure I need to stay in the house. I need to record on video what is going on. We'll find out.
Night one, here we go. I'm a little bit nervous about what's going to come. I'm just interested in finding out what spending the night is like, or a month for that matter. All right, here's the door to the hallway. We have a door to another room over there. This is my living stuff. I'm going to be here long enough to be uncomfortable, I have a feeling. But we do have the necessities. Toilet paper, that's always good. A brown bag with a bottle of something inside. Computers, cameras, guard dog. Ellie, say hi. Ellie. She's a little nervous as well. Another camera, night vision. This is where no magic will be happening. Tripod, computers, night vision cameras, and last but not least, a door. A door to the unknown and the place that nobody wants to go. Oh, the light's on. How pleasant. This would be the bowels of the Patterson mansion. That's my bathroom that the maid didn't come to apparently scrub for me, and I don't have anything to scrub with, so I get to use this. It's like watching a scary movie. You like to be scared, but you don't like to be scared. I'm going to retire for the night, go back, maybe read a little bit, not watch a horror movie, and hit the sack. We'll see if I can have a nice peaceful night or if there's things going on. And I see all these little particles of light flying around the room. And when you're there alone, you are looking for every little occurrence to make you uneasy. But the next day when I woke up and I thought about the rest of the day, I realized that, yeah, it probably is in fact dust and it's not an orb or multiple orbs or spirits flying around my head.
When he was looking up, he saw a small shadow of a little kid just run past him. That it freaked him up so bad, he just ran upstairs because he doesn't want to be here by himself.
That was the mutter doing the drywall, yeah.
Yeah.
Had he heard about the ghost stories before?
He never has.
Really?
Oh.
If you see him again?
He's upstairs right now. Nomás quería ver si bajaba. Si no le tenía miedo ahí abajo.
No tengo miedo.
¿No le tiene miedo?
No. Ahorita voy para abajo, ¿quieres?
Está bien. Aquí se puede quedar, nomás quería ver.
Está bien, güey.
He says he's not scared now?
He's not scared anymore. Because the guys keep teasing him about it.
Oh.
The guys that stay at night, those are the guys that are starting to hear the footsteps and stuff.
Nothing has happened to me yet. I keep hearing stories.
After 6 when everything starts.
That's the bewitching hour after 6.
See, that's the funny part. She doesn't believe any of this, but she will not come in here at night.
Okay, that's not true. It's not that I don't believe it. It's just that, like, I'm skeptical. People, like, want to believe it so bad that they make things up. But I do believe that there are spirits, and I believe that, like, you can hear things and feel things. Just, it hasn't happened to me yet, so I don't know. So I got to the bottom of the stairs in the foyer, and I was leaning over the railing looking into the basement, and I got a knee right in the back of my leg, really hard. No joke.
Are you serious?
It's completely serious. It was Travis, but I'm completely serious.
That's what I thought.
And then I crawled in the crawl space, and my hands got freaking freezing cold. I mean, and it was 90-degree day. And it was freezing cold.
And you weren't touching a bunch of freezing cold pipes or anything,
No,
huh?
and we tried to recreate and get my hands cold because we thought, oh, you're just in a cold space grabbing cold pipes. So went back in there for another 10 minutes and did the same thing. Nothing.
You know, says, hey, Travis, you know, we got to talk. And Alex is great, so I'm thinking he needs some money, right? So, all right, Alex, hey, let's go talk. We can hear music. He said we can hear some music, and it went on for, like, a long time. He'll have to tell you kind of how long. He goes, and that didn't really bug us, just kind of weird, right? He goes, we definitely heard baby crying.
Well, the only voice I heard, it's a girl. It looks like crying or talking. Right there on the second floor. I was working and Floyd, of course, he was there and he told me, he said, a girl that's upstairs. I was like, no girl's right here. There's nobody working right here. So yeah, he said, looks like a girl crying.
But yeah, my buddy came over last week. you know, because he was asking about when we were going to cut the sewage, because he had some chain cutters he wanted to learn how to use. When he went upstairs to use the restroom up on the 3rd floor, and he come down, because we were all downstairs in the basement here. He come down and he goes, all right, which one of you's messing with me? And we're like, what are you talking about? He's like, well, somebody kept saying, are you there? Are you there? Like in a soft voice while he was in the can, and he thought it was us. And nobody was upstairs. Everybody was down here in the basement. Yeah, he says, man, I ain't coming back. He goes, it's haunted. I said, no, it ain't, man. You're just hearing things. But he said it was like a woman's voice that kept saying real softly, are you there? Are you there?
The house gets in your mind and it won't let go.
The house would stay in my head. I know that sounds kind of odd to say, but it would stay in my head. Yeah.
The house has gotten in my mind and it overpowers some logic. And I don't know why, but figuratively it does. Like, it gets into your brain, and at least for me, I obsessed about it. It's like a love for the house, or maybe it's a feeling that I have to be the one to fix this and tell the story.
Thomas Croak was a farmer's son, came from the Midwest, from Wisconsin.
His wife died before he built the house, before he finished the house. And, you know, that rumor was that, you know, he spent all this money, because it was the grand mansion on the hill. I mean, this was, you know, the house. And he spared no expense. The rumor is that he moves in and it's so haunted that he walks in the front door and says, I'm done. You know, I'm not even going to live here. When in essence, that's not what happened at all. He did live there for 6 months, and there were also many other factors leading up to why he would probably, you know, leave. I mean, he was losing some money. He lost a tremendous amount of money.
His wife and his mother both passed away in the same year, and he was left a widowed father of a couple of children, and I think he just didn't want to deal with that big house without the two central women in his life. My guess is that he chose the architect, and I'm thinking the architect chose the style, because if you look at some of Hodgson's other buildings that he's done not only in Denver but also did some mansions in Portland and in Omaha, they're all of a very similar style.
This house is architecturally significant because it's the last remaining chateau-esque style architecture in Denver. When I hear chateau-esque, I think of Chateau, which would be the Loire region of France.
My French is terrible, but the way it looks on paper is the Chateau Les Rideaux, I believe it's called, and that in the Loire Valley. And I have seen pictures of that one. It's a beautiful castle, and you can definitely see that the Croak Patterson has been modeled after that one.
If I'm going to redesign a broken down castle, I need to see for myself what they looked like originally. Walking around in a 600-year-old building takes you back in time to the days of Leonardo da Vinci. How can I make a brand new renovation fit the colors and textures of years past? In a Paris cemetery, I spend some time to reflect upon my own beliefs in the afterlife. Our forefathers have left us with so much knowledge and so many amazing buildings. If they could only leave us with a hint of where they are now.
Thomas Patterson is an interesting character. He grew up in Indiana. His father was a jeweler. He learned the jewelry trade. He also learned the printing trade, and that would become a very important part of his future because he ended up owning the Rocky Mountain News once he came to Denver. Patterson had some land up near what is now Stanley Lake. Patterson and Croak got together and they decided that they would trade Patterson's land for Croak's house, and that's how it happened. The interesting thing about that was this happened totally on a whim. Patterson's wife was actually traveling in Boston. She didn't even have a say in this. So he wrote her a letter and he said, well, guess what, honey? I bought us a house.
It's a wonderful letter. We stumbled upon it. And in the letter, he says, oh, by the way, like it was just no big deal. On a whim, I bought this house. Hope you like it. You know, like had bought a piece of art or something. I mean, it's crazy. Or a new sofa. No one went out and bought this 14,000 square foot place on Capitol Hill.
His wife, Catherine, was, her family was originally from West Virginia. She was born in Wheeling, West Virginia. They had a daughter, Margaret, and a daughter, Mary, and a son, James. James was named after the brother who died in the Civil War. Mary died as a young woman of illness.
She had terrible health problems. It was so difficult because I could never figure out what was wrong with her. And their son James, very, very sad, he was addicted to drugs. And he died in Pasadena, committed suicide in Pasadena.
It ended up being Margaret being the only surviving child. Thomas gave the house to his daughter while he was still living after Catherine died in 1902. And Thomas decided, he didn't want to live in the house all alone. He wanted to make sure his daughter was there with him. So he gave the house to Margaret and her husband, and they continued to live there. Thomas died in 1916, and the Campbells continued to live there for another 5 or 6 years until they built their own house. In the 1940s, one of the owners was Archer Sudan, who was a doctor up in Kremling, and he had moved down to Denver from the mountains because he had some responsibilities as president of the Colorado Medical Association.
What do we know about Tulane Sudan?
He was a country doctor and she was his nurse. She stood by him and moved to the mansion. Well, apparently and very obviously that's when things began to unravel. She committed suicide using cyano gas, and which kills you very quickly. So, to go from being this, happy, sociable person to having, you just don't know what happened. She's considered to be the one that haunts that 3rd floor area. The rumors are that she had this infant and it died or whatever happened to it. She was distraught. Some people say she it was buried in the cemetery. She went, dug it up, buried it in the basement, because she couldn't stand to be away from it. Some people said the child was murdered. Some people, there's all kinds of stuff. But we found none of that to be true. We found no instance of any baby in the basement. And his son is the one who, according to Mary, that left all the stuff in the basement, which was really creepy. Jars upon jars of fetuses, fingers, brains. Just crazy stuff. He had to have been a pathologist, or else just weird. And then when she bought the house, she said the worst job was she had to clean it out.
If I could tell you what I did to the plumbing of the sewers of Denver, but all these bottles, all these specimens, I was pouring them down. I just don't even want to think about it.
This is not good. Yeah, you're gonna see an idiot trying to get a bat out of a room when you don't know how he got in the room. It's okay, though. Trying to get us stupid. Beat it! Oh shit, where are you? Your name is Dracula. Hey Dracula, get the hell out of my room.
We tore that wall out, and when we tore it out, we got a horrific smell, man. And we couldn't find where it was, the smell was come from. We smelled all the 2x4s, all the drywall. No smell from them.
What did it smell like?
It smelled like a mortuary inside, you know, death. And just, it's a hard smell to describe, you know, because it don't smell like something that stinks, you know, like crap or something.
Mm-hmm.
It don't smell like that. It's a really weird smell.
And there was nothing dead that you pulled out?
No, there's nothing dead in there or anything. And then I told my buddy about it that we borrowed the trailer from, and he said the ghosts don't have no image or anything, so they like to stick to walls and things. So we may have disturbed one of them that was on the wall. That's what he thinks, you know. But it's hard to say. You know, you talk about God and stuff, and everybody's a firm believer in it, and nobody's seen it. But they've seen what it could be done, you know. So it's kind of a weird thing, you know, that you believe something over here, but you want to believe this, but you want to see it to believe it, you know. And you know, just the Word of God, you know, that He's there, He's right or wrong, He's there, you know. Yeah.
So at least we have a few weird pictures and some stories that people are telling.
Right, and your spirit's got to go somewhere, right?
That's what we're finding out. Maybe it just peters out. Who knows? But
who knows? Maybe you get stuck to a wall and stink for a while.
I don't know what happens after you die. I think that when you die, what do I think? God, I don't know. It's like you don't know, and no one knows. What do I hope? I hope there's an afterlife. Do I think there's an afterlife? It's tough to say, man. Like, it's too difficult to say I believe there is an afterlife. Maybe it's because I haven't found my way through religion. I'm wandering.
But as a people, we need to know that there's something else out there besides us, that there's a reason for us to be here. And an afterlife opens up a whole lot of possibilities. So to find evidence of that is incredibly motivating. You know, people really want to find something.
I would like something to show itself. Now, I don't know what that means. Let's say a door opened by itself and closed. Yeah, you tie a string and the producer pulled it, and then the other producer that's inside pulled it back. But I will not do that. There is no other producer. There's no producer here. We didn't have a bat handler. I don't even know if they have a bat handler, but that is, it's a wild beast. It's a wild animal that does or did indeed reside here. I might have a visitor coming up in a couple days. Lady friend of mine, but she's gonna bring her 2 dogs, have a little cheese fondue, some red wine, watch a movie, in a scary house. I wonder if anybody's ever done a date like that. And if they did, I wonder how it turned out. Not sure what there's bags of. King Super's bags. I'm sure. Oh, no way. Marquette. 3 petite. I think that means girl. Little girls. That's nice. We'll set that here for Travis in the morning. What's in the bag? Oreos and rat poop. No, thank you.
When you're opening up a home that's been remodeled, ad nauseum over the last century, you just really don't know what you're going to discover until you open up some of these walls and ceilings and things like that. When we removed this drop ceiling, we discovered some of the original nursery or children's wallpapering high on the ceiling, and really found some unique artifacts. We found the newspaper in this room that dated back to 1892 underneath these floor joists. I haven't read it, but I hear that there's a classified section that talks about all sorts of professional women that are looking for business.
You have things that are coming out of the walls, like artifacts and history, jackets of little girls, things coming out of the fireplace, cat bone, cat femur in the basement. The mystery is coming out through the artifacts.
I was actually going to create a cemetery in the basement of the castle here. I was going to have a tombstone built and actually placed into the cement, with their tomb underneath it. So that my 2 favorite cats were actually stored here in a freezer until such time as we could create the tomb.
You must be a cat lover.
Love cats, yeah. They're the best.
Yeah.
This is where Mama was going to be buried right here. That's a cat femur, yeah. So,
who knows?
It's a dead kitty.
Yeah.
Being pregnant with triplets, I was huge. I had a really tough time turning over in the end. And here I am in this bed that you have to use. Get up the stairs in. I mean, this bed's like 3 feet off the ground. So I'm perched up there like a little princess, and I couldn't turn over. I'm having a hard time breathing. And suddenly, there's Margaret. This woman didn't even talk, but I swear she was as real as you are to me. Only she's dressed in complete period piece, and she just looks so happy. And she says to me in her mind, "Hi, I'm Maggie. Do you need some help?" Why I think this is normal is beyond me, but at this point I've been in the house for 3.5 years, so I said, sure. I put out my hand, and she literally stepped closer. She helped me move. I turned over. I faced the other way, and in my head I said, thank you. And she said, you're welcome. And then she was gone. Those were my kinds of experiences there, that they were normal, they were helpful, and they were really loving, great experiences. And the only time I had really scary stuff was when the Ghostbusters would come out.
The paranormal people, when they're investigating, they're instigating.
So we use this equipment to kind of go outside what the human sense can pick up. We've used that meter in this house on these stairs before. It's never beeped.
I don't know whether I'm here to help somebody or whether I'm being drawn for a negative purpose, but you know, whatever's in this house, I can feel it, and I still don't know what the reason is. I have no idea. Does anybody need help? I'm very sorry to leave. We feel your pain, we feel your suffering, but you don't have to stay here. What can we do to help you? I'm not sure. She's stuck in this house for some reason.
Somebody just turned the light on?
No.
The light just turned on. The light just turned on. I saw the light just turned on.
Yeah.
Switch is to the left there, Kevin.
Yeah, the light just turned on.
Okay. Is that you trying to communicate with us? Today, I have to admit, there were many things going on today that led me to believe that we were having interactions with the spirits. At the time that Kate was talking about the woman and the baby, not only did the lights flicker, but several people in this room also heard a woman whisper, "my baby." We've got this male dominant spirit who seems to be kind of in charge of the house. There's also another man whose voice that we caught interacting with that other spirit, and we also caught the voice of a woman. So we believe there's at least 3 spirits, 2 men and 1 woman, that are still living here in the mansion.
What did they say? Could you understand?
Yeah, we had an interaction that occurred, and what happened was we had 2 investigators down on the main floor, and as they went into a room, we picked up a ghost voice down there. It was a man saying, "Who's that girl?" And then within minutes of that, we actually picked up some EVPs in this room. We actually heard a man say the word "no," and then we heard what we call a disembodied voice, because we actually heard the voice say with a really creepy kind of a voice, he said, "Yes." So when you come in and do remodeling or construction, a lot of times that stirs the spirits up. And we're still kind of testing that theory, but I think with the recent construction of this mansion and all the evidence, all the activity that we're capturing in this mansion is proving that theory to be true.
You felt something, you really did.
Yes, I mean, got the chills. And Byron and I have been exchanging stories ever since we investigated this house. We've had crazy things happening to us.
Really?
The video would not pop up. Half of an interview was gone, then it came back in all red. Last Wednesday night, he told me he popped up out of bed and he couldn't breathe. Same thing for me last Wednesday night.
Wow.
So we are going to delete all of this video, and we are done with this story.
Well, the
Done.
video disappearing could have just been our equipment, but the breathing thing, I don't know. Yeah.
I did not know that. We have had really weird stuff happening since this story, but it's a beautiful mansion, and we think there are going to be people who want to come and want to see it for themselves because it's been closed to the public for so long.
I'm sure.
So it's
I'm sure there will be.
gorgeous. So when it reopens, I think there are going to be a lot of people waiting to get in.
You're a brave woman.
Nice.
Or crazy.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, this is I don't know if you get fire waves. But yeah, the basement just has like this weird feeling,
I agree, that hole freaks me out.
The hole. The hole
and the
freaks me
floor.
out. The floor?
Yeah,
the hole in the floor?
The where the dirt.
Yeah, where the concrete's cut out, like what's down there.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah, this. I still don't know what that is. It is sticky?
Yeah.
And it doesn't smell?
No. No. No scent. Is this the room we were talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. This one. Oh. I'm trying.
Can you see?
What the fuck are those holes?
I think they're being fed from the fireplaces. The first night was one eye opened kind of thing. Eventually, threw some bottles of wine. It got a little easier and easier, and finally I'm so tired I just fall asleep immediately. I have no problem walking around the house. It's not too terribly creepy until you get down here. Why are we so interested in ghosts? Okay, I'm hearing. Noises upstairs. Okay. There's something going on above me. It's nothing too drastic. It's subtle. It could be the house creaking and groaning. It's musty down here. It smells like a little bit of mildew. Let me catch my breath. A little bit of mildew. Dust. Earth. It's cold. It's damp. I wish it were more quiet. God. Okay, I just hear things. It was coming from inside this place. There it is. Maybe it's inside the house. All right, I think my visit downstairs got cut off a little short because I was scared. That's it. Grown men can be scared of nothing. And I'm standing right here, and I take the camera and I go like this. And when I went back and checked the footage, there's a reflection in the mirror right down in that reflection back down this hallway of a woman. EVPs. I don't know the science of it. I watch TV and I hear that they record spirits on tape or on digital devices that the human ear can't pick up. Listening to the footage that we've got so far, I've heard whispers. I've heard whispers recorded on film when no one is around me. There was no wind, there was no dogs, there's nobody with a tape recorder playing whispers. And you're probably asking me what it says. One whisper says men over and over. It says men in a really slow, drawn out, scary whisper. Men. Another whisper says something about the basement, but I can't understand what, and I'm not just gonna fabricate something. I don't know what it says about the basement, but it says something about the basement. Here's the deal, people. It's been 16 nights. I've decided to call off this whole sleeping here thing for a while. I've realized today that I am not safe here. There is not one smoke alarm in this house. And without any sort of notification that there is a fire on the first floor, it could be on the third floor before I even knew it. I am worried for my safety.
There were more than 900 firefighters doing everything they could to protect this neighborhood near an area called Garden of the Gods that 30-mile-an-hour winds turned into an inferno.
Still burning, uncontrolled for the most part in the hills west of Colorado Springs.
And we are still getting conflicting reports as to when it actually started. The El Paso County Sheriff's Office is asking now for anyone who might have any information as to how this fire started, who may have been in that Waldo Canyon area Friday night or Saturday.
Denver 911, what's the address of your emergency?
Whatever's going on is actually next door, and I don't know the address.
Okay, what direction? North, south, west?
It's the corner of 11th and Pennsylvania, the mansion on the corner.
Okay.
So, I guess it was about 10 minutes ago when I was talking to my mom. They've been doing maintenance on this mansion, like intensive maintenance. An alarm started going off. It's like really high pitched, and now it's been going off for like 10 or 15 minutes, and I see like a light blinking in like I don't know, like going on and off, you know, like surging in there, and I think it's like an alarm. So I don't know if I don't know what's happening.
At the same time as the wildfire starts near the Garden of the Gods 100 miles away, a fire breaks out on the second floor of our mansion. All of our work has been destroyed, and we feel like abandoning all hope.
somebody was walking by at like 12:30 and saw smoke coming out of one of these windows, and then they called the fire department, and they got here in 4 minutes and were able to extinguish it.
Wow. Come on, Carly.
Yeah, it's just hurts. It really hurts.
It's freaking hurt. It's just, your heart just
I mean,
drops.
her description was like from the second floor up, it was just covered in smoke.
In smoke.
It was mainly smoke. But like that fire.
The flame was pretty isolated.
What was the fuel? My station, like the plastic and stuff?
But I mean, it was just, that's where it started. Like,
But we're trying to figure out how it started. We don't think it's an accident.
We were so close to the point of switching gears and getting into operational mode and presenting this to the public, and then to have this setback. Emotionally, I think I'm drained right now.
My initial thoughts were it certainly looked like we had some kind of an accident that occurred with those items that were being stored there. Most of the time these things don't cause fires, but every once in a while the conditions for whatever reason are just right, and I can't really tell you what it was about that night that caused those things to come together in just the right way and cause it to happen.
Well, I guess we do what we gotta do, you know?
To bring it back.
and still open on time.
You guys will be done next week, right?
You're supposed to.
I'm coming out of this door, and I'm looking down the hallway, and the light in the pod, like somebody walking by, coming out of the closet, which makes no sense because the door's open.
Well, there shouldn't be anything in the way of the sun, I wouldn't think, to me.
Yeah, so like you can see the shadow on the floor, just walking into the bathroom. So now I'm starting to think somebody's up here. So I checked the whole room, checked the closet, checked everything.
No one's
Nothing.
up here.
Nothing. Nobody's up here. And I could feel it. I could feel a breeze of air. Like there's no breeze up here.
And how long ago was that?
5 minutes ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it just happened. Like I'm just like I think I'm just losing it. It couldn't have just happened.
What do you think? Do you think this is real stuff, or do you think it's in your mind?
I don't think it's in my mind. I mean, I've seen people, I've heard things, but I'm just like, I can't.
Was that the most, like, visual?
Yeah, that's the most, like, if somebody was following me around or something.
Wonder who it is.
Our plumber, he was brought in, worked there for a week. It's a friend of Rob's. He was doing some plumbing on the first floor.
Yeah, all week he was just complaining, having a hard time working, getting things done, complaining, you know, and everybody said he wasn't looking good. You know, he looked gray and he didn't quite have no color to him. So then he just got real mouthy and everything, so we got tired of it, let him go. So the next day, me and his brother talked to him about it, and I said Saturday morning after I paid him, I said he went right down, me and him went right down and bought a big bottle of 1,000 tablets for his bipolar depression. For 2 weeks I was at his house every day because I lived next door. I was banging on the door, calling him, everything, no answer. And then a week later I got a hold of it, tried getting a hold of his brother, left a note, messages and everything, couldn't get a hold of him. Till finally the second week, I went over there and I practically beat down his door. I told him, dude, we gotta go see your brother. I haven't seen him in 2 weeks. And so we went over. He tried opening the door and I pushed it and it was already open. Just the screen door was locked. And then we got that smell and I was like, oh, dude, you ain't gonna like what we're gonna see. He's like, what do you mean? I said, your brother's gone, dude. I hate to tell you that, but your brother's gone. And then we walked into the bedroom and he's like, where's the light switch? And I flipped the light switch on and he just fell to his knees. He just started bawling.
And so they go into the bedroom. He's lying there. His face is completely purple black, just from decomposition. The smell, I guess, is just indescribable.
But after the autopsy, because you got to wait like 12 weeks, And that's what they said, is he hemorrhaged and had a heart attack. So what they think is that night he went to bed, he felt like nauseated or something, got up, threw up, went to the outside, sat outside for a little bit, felt better, went back into bed, had a heart attack and died.
Yeah.
You know, I've known him for 20 years. Very good plumber. It's like an art, you know. He's like one of those artists.
Maybe human beings we believe that we keep going because death is something that's so hard to swallow. Our souls, our minds, whatever we are, we go somewhere. I'm just saying I don't think that life dies. I don't think your life disappears into nothingness.
And most people believe that it doesn't die, then it needs to move on or keep going in some fashion. It's just a matter of where. In order to get to heaven, you have to be pure. You have to be a pure soul to make it through the pearly white gates. I will get to heaven, but I may have to hang out for a while. Let's just say I'm not a perfect human. And I don't think there are any, maybe. If I can't make it into heaven right away and I'm not going to hell, then what's the answer? Purgatory. Purgatory is a state of being after death, before you face judgment. It's been around since the end of the medieval times. Purgatory was officially placed into Roman Catholic doctrine in 1274 in France during the construction of this building. And it has found its way into the building details. Purgatory has been in our minds ever since. I don't know how many pieces of art have been created around the topic. Art is a great way to get inside the heads of our ancestors and find out what they're thinking about for the afterlife. Purgatory in art spans at least 700 years and is worldwide. A large concentration is from Florence, Italy, and it depicts Dante and the Divine Comedy. If I'm going to learn about Purgatory, I'm going to go take a trip to Florence and visit the streets where Dante walked and created this poem, this literary work that, has gone on for 1,000 years and probably will 1,000 more. Dante was born in the late 13th century, and he was the first guy to really understand and put purgatory, heaven and hell, into a story and share it with the rest of the world. His literary work is probably Italy's most famous, and it incorporates purgatory as a concept. The Divine Comedy is an epic poem written by Dante about his own journey through the afterlife. Divina Commedia is comprised of 3 books: L'Inferno, Purgatorio, and Paradiso. Why is the concept of purgatory taboo in today's church? And why have I been turned down for interviews from clergymen from every religion? My research has brought forth artworks from Gustave Doré. It's brought forth works from artists all over the world. It's brought forth a film from 1911 that was, I believe, the first motion picture created in Italy.
Accompanied by Virgil, he begins his descent to the underworld. He witnesses sinners and their horrific punishments on his tour of the Inferno. Could the spirits back in the mansion be going through the same sort of agony? Perhaps are they trying to tell us something? Having survived the circles of hell, Dante and Virgil ascend to the mountain of Purgatory. The mountain has 7 terraces, representing the 7 deadly sins. Pride, envy, wrath, sloth, greed, gluttony, and lust. Face to face, he witnesses the unpleasant purification process. With each terrace, Dante ascends one step closer to the gates of heaven and Paradiso. All of these works have something in common, and it's the landforms that the stories are set against. I know of a place that looks exactly like this. How did this happen? How are all of these works of art set with the same backdrop? And this is the Garden of the Gods near Manitou Springs, Colorado. Manitou means spirit in Native American. This is the place where the rock was quarried that we visited earlier. The rock formations are red sandstone, and they tower out of the earth like you would not believe. It's amazing that they're still standing. And it's also amazing that you see this formation in all of the past visions of purgatory throughout history. Could the Garden of the Gods be one of those places that is a physical manifestation of purgatory? Since the mansion is built from its stone, Could it provide a window of opportunity to peek into the afterlife? We could have a perfect arrangement of circumstances which opens the door to exploration. But the symbolism has only begun. There are several symbols of Christianity built into the architecture. Crosses are found in the front elevation. Triquettas are found in many of the dormers protruding through the roof. It's a symbol associated with the Holy Trinity, the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. A symbol that is originally associated with the Virgin Mary is the fleur-de-lis. You'll find several of these symbols embossed on the roof cornice. I uncovered this diagram cast into the concrete floor of the carriage house. After months of research, I found that this is an ichthus wheel. Ichthus is a Greek word meaning fish. The Greek letters form the diagram itself. It is spelled iota, chi, theta, upsilon, sigma. It was used in the 1st and 2nd centuries to secretly identify the followers of Christ to avoid persecution. Could the Christian symbology and the connections to Purgatory make this place enticing for lost souls awaiting heaven?
Haunted is a dark side to the spirit world. Haunted is a place where the spirit world might try to frighten the living world. I don't think the house is haunted, no. But there is definitely a presence here.
It's the stories, it's the history, it's the tragedy, it's like a soap opera almost, you know, but it's got the history to go with it.
So we have run into things where we've gotten to a point where we simply can't test the other possibilities. So we have to leave it as unexplained, you know, and that's the bottom line, unexplained.
There's stuff there that I can't explain, clearly, that no one can explain.
This is a hot spot of activity.
And what happened to these families and why, you know, did this stuff all play out in this house? And what is it about this house that made these people, you know, go crazy or, you know, kill themselves or, you know, the rumors of, you know, burying babies in the basement or whatever the rumor is of the day. It just feeds on itself.
But it's the beauty of this place is it's got so many of those stories that can't really be confirmed or denied.
It's the mystery, it's the drama, it's the history, and the whole physical being of the house. It's the perfect package.
Virtually every